All right,
That's
GPS.
just like that little tube.
How does it work?
Trying to figure it out myself. No, I turned this on, and it took me a good while to get used to what it is.
How do you turn it on? Let's start there.
Well, there's just a little button on the side, and you just press like all the electronics.
Just press it once or press and hold?
Just one long time, and it comes on.
Press and hold. Okay.
Then you get a screen,
Okay.
and then it's. So the first thing you got to do is you go in, and you have to select the map and go through all this setup procedure. That takes time, so you can't just do this for the first time when you're on the boat.
Okay.
You'll be floating away. You'll be over there and you'll be lost. So you got to take the time ahead of time to do it. So I'm setting them up so at least they're on. So when you turn it on, the map is there.
Okay.
So then there's a back button. I went into map, and then there's a button over here. You hit back.
Where's the button? The lower right?
At the top, it says back at the top. Okay. It just brings you back to where you were. So there are a series of menus in here. There's a compass, and we don't need that so much.
Is that little joystick that's moving down?
The little joystick moves it down and around, side to side, and then when you get to the place where you want, this one's called Mark Waypoint.
Okay.
This is the thing we want. So
That's
when you
got
get there,
blue.
you just push down,
Mark Waypoint.
push it in, and here it comes up, and there it says location. You can see it says north so many degrees, west.
What are you reading? Just let me calibrate my phone against
All right,
that.
let's see if we got it together. I have north 39 degrees, 0.895. West 076 degrees, 30.766. Are you similar?
I have 39.00.90.
Pretty darn close.
0.05 off, and 76.30.77.
Oh, that's real
And
close.
what app are you using?
And I have an elevation of -1 foot.
I'm using application called iNav. It's a $50
iMap. Yeah. Okay.
iNav.
So,
It's a $50 navigation.
believe me, when I first did this, I was so
Yeah.
confused.
iNav.
But how
iNav
big it is.
X.
Now it seems
Yeah,
really
okay.
That's what it's
simple.
called.
But the first
I
thing I
wonder
think
how
we do is you
like
go out
Google
and you
Maps
find where the
works
edge of
or
the
Apple
grass is.
Maps for this as well.
And then you use
get
your
So
Make
this is
waypoints.
Google Maps, right?
Set yourself up.
I don't
And then you
know.
take a reading. And
So
you take
get
the
your
way.
waypoint.
I don't know how
first
you get
spot.
coordinate
Yeah,
How many
information.
not sure
waypoints
either.
do you want?
Well,
at one sample site.
amps, at least 3.
At one sample site.
One site.
You
So
want 3 what?
Waypoints.
3 samples and 3 waypoints.
For each sample.
Every time you sample, you'll have a waypoint. You'll record the longitude, latitude. You record the depth of where you are. Remember, we just did depth.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Then we use a SECI disc for that. And then you also record. Then you record the visibility in that spot. Then there's a lot to.
Okay. So to record the depth, you just drop the SECI disc. You see when it hits the ground, and then you measure that. To record the clarity, what if you're in the shallows? I mean, how do you do? I mean, if it,
Well, then it's going to be the same.
Then you have
If
to
you're
get
in a foot
farther
of
out?
water,
Okay.
Your foot of the water, it's a
You
foot
can
deep
see
and
your
it's a
feet,
foot.
okay, so okay.
But that's not.
But you don't
you're
walk
not
the
gonna-
SECI disc out farther deep and measure to see what the clarity is 6 feet over there. So you can say the clarity is
will.
X.
You will. So what I want you guys to do in the kayaks is there's a big bed along the shores, and we have the maps for that.
Yeah.
I want you guys to focus on the shallow end,
Okay.
all right, along the shore. So the first thing is at the southernmost part of the perimeter, and you take this measurement. Then you take the depth, and you take the SECI reading, and then you take a reading of the grass, and you take samples. Then you record all that on the data sheet, and you look to the shore, and you go, oh, that's open beach shore, no development. And you write that down. Or you write down, oh, there's a shore that's all revetment, this riprap. Or you write off, oh, it's a housing development like Winchester, or it's a cliff. Anyway, we don't seem to have a fecal
Okay.
problem
Yeah, it
here.
seems fine here.
So you take all that and you record the shoreline, and then what other notes, water temperature, and just fill in the blanks across the screen.
Okay.
Then when you got all that stuff done, you move on to another sampling site, and you go 50 yards, 100 yards, whatever, and you random, and then you try to get a sample that might be in the middle of the bed.
Okay.
And you do the whole thing over again. Oh, by the way, the first one you read the density. So when I first went out to this site,
Density of plants.
how
Okay.
many plants, and I saw them all scattered around. There wasn't a whole dense bed, so I would say it's sort of scattered.
Okay. Well,
There's little clumps of grass here, clumps of grass here, and you can see them in the middle of the day in the shallows really well if you're wearing polarized glasses. You're sitting in your boat, and you'll notice it's sort of getting shallow, colored, lightly colored like this. It's about 2 feet of water, and then there'll be these like weird dark spots, like liver spots. That's the grass.
Okay.
So you can go, if you're in the shallows and you see it, then you're easy. You can just go right to the grass and go, ah, there's a grass. And what I did is I just reached down and grabbed it, pulled it out, and I go, oh, there's my sample. I didn't need the rake or anything because it was easy to get at. Then I also used your U-scope in the very shallow water. You put it in there.
That's the bucket with the
You can
plastic.
see the grass. You don't have
Like
to
a
use
glass bottom boat.
Yeah, exactly. But it's only good certain times of the day. And other times of the day, if the clarity's under the angle,
seeing your own
it won't be
reflection.
useful. Yeah, that's what I happened the first time. The second time I did it was like, oh, cool. And it doesn't extend your visibility past the clarity, but it just gives you enough to see, oh, there it is. So then you get all that stuff and you move down into the middle of the bed and you do the whole procedure again. You go to this, you take a waypoint, you create a waypoint, then you read off your longitude, latitudes, then you read off the water temperature, you take your samples, you take the depth, you take the clarity, you record what's on the
Sheet.
on the shoreline,
Oh.
and then you say, okay, how dense is it here? You go, wow, it's all over the place. And it's densely populated with grass. And if you can find more than one species of grass, then that's what they really want to know, if there's more than one in there. And I think we also have to be aware of the tide, so you write down what time it is. So if you're not sure if that was high tide or low tide, you can always go back on the tide if you know the time.
But with the tide on the Severn, I mean, it's so much wind dependent. So I mean, it's going by a tidal clock is useless. I mean, almost useless because you might have an extra 2 feet of water, or you might be missing a foot of water with the winds. So
yeah, but it's better to go on the low end because if it's 6 feet of water, you won't see anything.
I know the Severn River Association has a tidal map that tells you what the actual measured tide is in Annapolis. So would that be something to use?
Yeah, I would just use that as a
measures
general
at a
measure.
Brewer's Point, which is a nice medium.
Brewers up there.
Yeah, so it might be called Tides near me, but I have it on my tablet. And
Yeah,
it's,
you can get them on the
Brewer's Point
computer.
is-
You can
is a great
download
one.
the tide chart.
Tides
Yeah.
near me is what I use.
Yeah, I think that's it. And
Okay.
Brewer's Point is the one and only, I guess, on the Severn above Annapolis that's relative for us.
If
And
low
Is
tide's
it-
at 3 in the morning, well, you can't
Yeah.
do that one.
do we need
Okay.
a separate GPS, or does the My Water app have
The water
ability
reporter
to tag a
will do
waypoint?
it. So if you were going to use your water reporter,
You can do everything there.
you can
Yeah, do you have
that
that on your phone? The water reporter on
I
your
don't
phone?
have it on my phone
Oh.
yet. I haven't
I do.
downloaded it.
All right,
Let's
look at that.
test mine. The